Right, so the mistake I made last night, so what we'll have to do, we'll have to re-bleed this here. Um, the mistake that I made last night basically was, whenever I had this off, there's two parts there's only one part where this here needle goes in, but I put it in the wrong hole, and after the bleed, the shock and all, I put the right pressure on when you were cycling up and down, but when you turned to rebound it wouldn't work at all, and that's because I had the rebound needle in the wrong part. So no damage done or anything like that, but I just need to do the whole process again, that whole blade again. So I'm not looking forward to it, like, but sure, it happens, like. So I want to get stuck in.
I want to ask you something. Have you ever wondered why it is we love this music? I want to tell you a little story. Say all about me and my friends when we're going to the club. We get up in there every Saturday night, and it doesn't matter who the DJ is. It doesn't matter what the crowd looks like. But baby, every single time we get together, talk about having a good time with house music. You can feel it, feel it on the inside. Say, I
See, before you bleed these here, make sure, so when you turn this wee rebound thing will come out here. You'll see it'll stick out. So we're in the fully open, but I'm going to just demonstrate this. Alright, that's your rebound. Alright, and then we're going to fully open it. But slippy in my gloves here. See, right, so fully open, and then before you bleed you want to push this till it goes back up, as you can see there. If you don't do that, you're not going to be able to get the bleed right. And then the mistake I made last night was putting the wee needle thing in the wrong part. So don't make my mistake. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that this here is properly torqued. a wee bit more tighter because we don't have a crow's foot to properly torque it, and it needs to be torqued at like 28 Newton meters, so that's a lot of force. So we're just going by hand feel here. Let's see. That's good and tight, boy. And tip it upside down. Right, so once you've got your shock and all this part of that like on, what you want to do is get a bit of isopropyl alcohol, spread on their cloth. I'm going to stick the gloves on in a minute because the next part's going to be messy. Just clean the whole shaft down, any oil residue, especially on the IFP, because we need to put tape on the IFP the way you bleed this. There's a fellow on YouTube called SubTube, and he does a lot of suspension tutorials, and his YouTube channel is unreal. Really good, so huge shout out to him, because if it wasn't for him you wouldn't be able to work on your own wee shocks and all, you know what I mean? So and then there's another YouTube channel who's helpful, Tuggy's MTV I think it's called. He's another good fellow, like. So just make sure that is completely dry, make sure all the oil is off it, because what we need to do is we need to put tape on it. And the way you do this here, let's see, so the best way to create a funnel is shipping tape, but we don't have that. So what you want to do is get your sellotape. Right, put the sticky side like this. And then the part that's not sticky, put it over the top like this. And then lift it all up. So this part here isn't sticky, but this here part here is sticky, and that's the part we're going to put around us. And the reason why you do it like that is the sticky part is you do want anything sticky on your suspension. You need to actually redo that. You just put it a wee touch lower. Hopefully it still has enough stiction on it. So kind of like that. It's just making like a wee extra funnel. And then your next step is make sure there's no sticky part here, which is not. Yeah, we're all good. Nothing sticky there, because you want anything sticky going in there. Next part is I'll get a glove for this here. Also another YouTube channel, if you don't know, see these lads here, Real Boys MTB, absolutely such a brilliant channel. Get some laugh out of my them a few times and tell you, such a laugh you get. You know, they're a good set of lads. Everyone in them is sound as a pound. give their wee channel a wee like or subscribe, you know. Right, so next part is we want to undo this here bleed screw, and it's a T10. Alright, oil will come out, that's totally normal. Now we'll try and get this here out without using any pliers. There we go, and then put it back on to have it ready to go. Now what we want to do is I'm going to put my glasses on just in case. We want to cycle this IFP down just past your thumbnail. Alright, let me see, that's about, just see it there, yeah, just a wee touch more. There we go, that's plenty. And then what we're going to start to do is what we done last night, only I put the part in the wrong part. We're going to just start bleeding this, and you want to do this nice and slow to start off with, because you want to get all these bubbles out of the system. So you do, this camera's a bit blurry, isn't it? And make sure you're in the fully open and the rebound, so set your rebound to the fully fast position. And we'll lower that down even more. We go. Alright. There we go. And just slowly cycle this. To get any bubbles out. As you can see, there is quite a lot trying to come out here. There we go. And you want to do this here a good few times. Up there. There's a lot of bubbles coming out. So there is. As you can see, there's quite a lot of bubbles. You want to do this maybe about 300 times, so I'm going to cut the camera off after a while, you know. So, as I said, I've done a lot of that off camera. You know, you want to get all the bubbles out as much as you can. Now, hand bleed, you're not going to get every single one of them out. It's just going to be impossible. But as I said, I want to get one of my Dreamy bleed machines. I'd love to get one of them. But there was way more bubbles at the start. Now these shocks, they're not that silent anyway. But there's not as much bubbles coming out there. Now not pushing down, you see that there, it's just coming through the hole, but there's no really, there's the odd wee bubble coming out, but you want to do this at least 300 times. So off camera, that's what I've done. If you don't do this about 300 times, there is going to be air in it, or in your damper, and your AFP. You really do not want that. As you can see there, that is pretty darn good. So it is at the minute. And you'll hear your damper getting quieter and quieter when you're doing this. If you don't hear it getting quiet, you're not doing the bleed right. You just keep doing this. There's a wee bubble coming up. Even after 300 times, just shows you a wee bubble coming up, as you can see there. You know, we are near enough done. So next step, once you've bled all this and you don't see any bubbles coming out, then what you want to do is you want to get your wee blade, just to get this here, just cut this. Have a minute ago, wee bleed screw. So next thing, what you want to do, get your bleed screw after you've bled this here and make sure there's no bubbles coming out. Then we're going to put the screw in here to the AFP. We're going to loosen this here bleed port too, and we're going to set the AFP to 33mm. So get an AFP tool or digital calipers and just make sure that your tool is set to 33, which it is. And as we're pushing down on this, oil is going to come out, and if there's any trapped air in here, it's going to come out. Okay, so, and whenever you reach the bottom of this AFP, screw that in. If you don't, you're going to let air in. Make sure this is in good and tight. Make sure that C-clip is in, because this next part is very dangerous, because we'll have to inflate this to 250 psi, so you want to make sure this is in tight. If it's loose, it could shoot out, you could go free like a bullet. So make sure this C-clip is in, because it will cause you serious damage. Just get that connected in one more time, or connect in. There we go. Make sure it's good and snugged in there. This is not a part you want flying out, I can tell you that. I'm going to get this in here. I'm going to push it up, and then we're going to turn it towards there to make sure it's straight. We need a high pressure shock pump. One that can go up to at least 600 psi, but we're going to go up to 250. Also, you're going to need a Rockshox adapter. Very special tool. If you don't have these tools, do not even attempt this, because you cause yourself some damage. So I'll record this here part without the music, and I'll let you hear the noise once it releases. So what you want to do is you want to hook this up first. Always screw in the adapter first. Make sure it's tight. That's not going to come out or anything. And then hook the shock pump up to it. And when you're unthreading this, after you put your pressure in, once you unthread it, you want to unthread it from the adapter. You don't want to unthread it from the shock pump. And then you'll hear the noise of the hissing coming out of it. That is air escaping from the shock pump and not the AFP. You should have a charged shock after this. If you don't, you've done it wrong. Making sure we're hooked up to this. Make sure we're good and tight. Don't want any loss of leaks or anything like that, air loss. Yeah. Should be hurt. Yeah, we're good. Put this here steady. And always check your needle, like see once you pump it up a bit, check the needle's not going down. If it does, you've got air loss, you've got air somewhere, but this is staying put. So we're near 250. Wee bit to go. Let's see. And once you're at 250, just check that needle that it's not losing pressure. If it is, one of the seals is bad or something, or you've done your bleed wrong. Now this is the part I hate. So we're going to unthread this completely from the adapter, not the shock pump. The red part, we're going to unhook it. There we go. And you will hear a hiss coming out of this, totally normal. There we go. And that there came from the shock pump, because you should have a charged shock now. And we're going to just test it here, just to make sure. You should have good pressure in this, so just going to put this here so I can get a bit of grip. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's definitely charged alright. Yeah, they're snappy. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but there's well snappy yet. That there. That's working. Also, most important, what you want to check is your rebound. So, fully fast. Alright. Fully slow. Oh yeah, so that there. That rebound is super slow. Look at that there. And then open it up again. And it'll speed up. But you need to have the right tools to do this here, and you need to know a bit about suspension and stuff. I'm addicted to it. I just love learning new stuff, and YouTube shows you a lot. And as I said before, your man StubTube has a YouTube channel, and he shows you all these steps. It's amazing. But yeah, that there shock is fully charged. Perfect, all the rebound, everything is working perfect. Nice and silent. The way you want it. That's nice and snappy. Next we'll have to do is the air can, re-grease seals and stuff like that. But that does take a lot of strength to do that. 250 psi is in there, and as I said, if that's not tightened in, that could shoot out with enough force that go right through you. I'm not even joking. There's warning signs all over shocks. You know, this tell you, don't be taking them apart, nation what you're doing and stuff like that. So if you're ever looking to learn it, go on to Rockshox website or Fox website, or go on to StubTube YouTube channel. It's unreal. He'll show you all the steps. But it's good to be able to learn it. It's took me years and years to be able to do stuff like this. I just always wanted to learn to do my own shocks, and I just love doing it, And people go on a lot of courses to learn how to do this here, but seeing when you do it yourself, it does feel good, like, because it saves you a fortune too. Because to get these shocks serviced, if you're taking into a manufacturer to get serviced, usually about 130 to 140 pounds. But you need to know what you're doing with it.
A lot of us pretend we're okay, smiling when we're breaking, silently struggling, wondering if we are ever enough. We spend so much of our lives wishing things would be different, failing to understand that without those fires, we wouldn't become who we're meant to be. There's one place that epitomizes this part of life, and that is Gladstone pottery. For 200 years, these towering kilns shaped the clay that came through its veins, forging it into something bolder, stronger, and more beautiful. The men, women, and children that worked here sacrificed a piece of themselves to it, creating a work of art in this world that made it just a little bit brighter. The figures standing here were once somebody just like you. Someone who wondered if they were ever enough. Today, we create our own work of art. To yet again create something for this world that makes it a little brighter. This is Jordan's Hillstone, and this is his story of Claymore.
Just gonna check this shot one more time, make sure we're all good, which should be. So rebound's fully open. Yep, nice and snappy. And then just check the rebound. Nice and slow. And open it, it'll go faster. That is perfect. Well, there we go. There we go. Now this part is going to be tricky because we need to equalise it. So when we're pushing down, we're going to need a lot of force. And then you might hear a wee bit of air. That's the equalising port because you've got the negative and positive chambers. So let's try this here. And I can. Yeah, takes a lot of force out of this. Don't want to touch the damper part, I just want this to slide up without touching it. You know what I'll do? This might help me. I'll put this in an angle. See if we can hear this here. Man, this takes some pressure, so it does. Oh, equalise, come on. And then with new volume tokens in, so that's probably, you know, we should be able to get this going. Oh, jeez. That's crazy. That should be equalising. Let's see. Oh. We can equalise it when it gets on the bike and all, but I would like to have done it here now. This. Oh, that's crazy. We'll just equalise it on the bike. Oh god, that's crazy. Try it this way. Make sure the face is turned locked. Crazy. There we go, here on the lights. That's equalising, that's what we want. And that's a lot of pressure to do that. Jesus Christ. That is no joke. Trust me, that is no joke. Yes. Jeez, that was tough. I'm not gonna lie, that was really tough to do. Now we need to turn the stanchion body and stuff once we get this down. Before that, we need to make sure this is super tight. So we need to get this here. Let's say a service a shock.